Hi there, this is Liz Zirk again with the Bear Body Talk series, and welcome you all to our interview with Shiv. I said that correctly, I hope. Shiv was a part of one of the Women Enough Bear photo shoots, which I'm really excited to ask her about. And we've had a little pre-interview time, and I am loving your energy, lady. Loving it. Hello and welcome to you.
Well, hello and welcome to you too. Thanks for having me.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Breath.
Breath is awesome.
It
I'm
is
all about
awesome.
breath. I didn't tell you that, but that is my thing.
Mm.
Hmm.
What else is your thing? You have a onewomanrevolution.tv website. What's that all about?
That is all about, well, I truly believe that inside each and every one of us, there is a one woman revolution. And it took a fire for me to find mine. So I nearly died in a house fire, and I found my one woman revolution.
Wow.
I was a corporate lawyer at the time, and I thought that my job had me imprisoned, but I actually had myself imprisoned. And that
Mm.
job was just a symptom. And after the fire, it took me only 3 months to get out. Well, I've been trying to get out, in my journal for 18 months. I was the same person before the fire and after the fire,
Mm.
but something switched, something flipped, and that's what's fascinated me ever since, was what made me different after the
Mm.
fire to before the fire. What was that? When I talk with clients, it's about like a mother whose son is under the car, and she
Okay.
can lift the car up,
Yeah.
right, because her son's under there. You couldn't train her in a gym to do that.
Mm-mm.
There is something, it's this thing that's inside. So that's what happened to me inside the fire. And I now know that inside every single one of us, that's there, and quite often it takes people almost dying to
Yeah.
flip it. So I'm here to say, you're the same person. Don't risk that dying. Do it now.
Mm.
And so that's what One Woman Revolution is about. It's about awakening. And then once we've awakened that One Woman Revolution, it's not about saying, oh, it's my revolution. No, it's your revolution. No, it's Michelle's revolution. No, it's it's about saying, I'm a revolution, you're a revolution, and let's join together for the revolution. Because
Mm.
that's the thing, and that's when we really that's when we can make the change. Because together we can do so much. I mean,
Mhm.
alone we can do so much, but together we can do so much more.
Mhm.
Right. So it's about recognizing it inside of me, recognize it inside of you. I'm brilliant, you're brilliant. There's loads of space for brilliant. It's a
Yeah.
huge galaxy out there. We haven't got to butt and say, well, I'm more brilliant than you. We're all brilliant,
Yeah.
and let's get together and shine brilliantly in the world.
Mm. Mm.
I don't think I've ever said it quite like that. I quite like that. Thanks. That's a wrap. I think I'll take some green juice for that one.
And I'll say you're welcome. No, I'm just kidding.
Mm.
But I'm not kidding. No, it's important to have these moments for ourselves and to make space for ourselves
Yeah.
and say things out loud. Words do matter. Words
Yes.
that we tell ourselves matter. Words that we say to other people matter. They
Mm.
matter. Period.
They matter. They matter.
They matter. It's true.
Yeah.
What
Yeah.
are I know I tell myself that I'm capable to do the work that I want to do in the world. Like that's my word, capable.
Mm.
And I'm curious what words you tell yourself.
That's a really good question.
No,
This wasn't in the pre-interview.
it wasn't.
There was nothing in the pre-interview. Actually, that's a really interesting question, because as much as I am like in the positive thinking, when it comes to myself,
Mhm.
me, my abilities, they're never quite good enough. They're always in the could do better. So I've got a whole thing about the could do better syndrome. I have a really bad CBS. What could do CBD? That's right.
Could do better.
CBD could do better.
Mhm.
Um, because I know that I'm capable of doing stuff, but I think I should be more capable and it should be
Mhm.
better.
Mm.
And so that's why I do the work that I do,
Yeah.
because I have that inside of me, even in this life. So looking very different to how I used to look and living extremely differently, it's still that freaking gremlin still
Mm.
comes up. That bitch, the bitch within that we all have, she still comes out. But she's
Yeah.
my best teacher at the same time. So that's the difference now. Is I look at it now, I look at that and think of it as a teacher rather than a limitation.
Yeah.
So, but
Mm.
I like that. I'm gonna take that on. I'm gonna think of a word I'm gonna have my word. Thank
Mm,
you. Capable.
mm, capable. That's,
Mm,
I mean, I've always said that words matter, and
true.
I think also that I mean, Women Enough as an organization is about visuals. That visuals matter as well. That
Mm.
we can't just tell ourselves things. We also have to show ourselves things. We have to embody the things that we want to be in the world. It encompasses all of those things. But yeah, I think it starts with words, in my opinion.
Or thoughts.
Words. Yeah,
The
thoughts.
thoughts. The
Mm-hmm.
thoughts become the word. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that was one of the big when I went to Mexico, and lots of different stories, but this was where I had my big aha of I want to be happy. Well, I knew I wanted to be happy, and I've been searching for that for about 20 years. And I'd been told that nobody's happy. My mum told me this. Nobody's happy, and you just kind of make do. And that's kind of what I'd seen until I went to Mexico and saw this woman. But anyway, on a wall there, it was written, "Be aware of your thoughts; they become your words. Be aware of your words; they become your actions. Be
Mm.
aware of your actions; they become your destiny." Now, I've
Yeah.
seen that a gazillion times since then, but up at that time, the lawyer, me, the Amanda lawyer, like lost, saw that and was just like blown away, because now it wasn't like luck that had happened. It was this sequence of events that my thoughts set into action, my words which set into action my actions, which becomes my destiny.
Yeah.
And so if I want to change my destiny, I got to go back to my thoughts.
Yep.
Boom. And
Yep.
then it's all about what words come out of our mouth is the next part. So yes, I
Mm-hmm.
believe, I do Kundalini yoga. So the vibration of the word,
Mm-hmm.
the whole yoga of vibration, and on the upper palate we have 84 meridians on
Wow.
the upper palate of our mouth. So when we're doing our chanting, like when we tune in, this is why it's called a scientific technology. It's
Mm-hmm.
actually like playing a piano to your brain, and there's a chemical reaction that happens within the body. There is actually a physiological reaction. And so our words are the same. So even sometimes we don't know what a word means, that vibration, both the outward vibration and the one internal, it all sets into motion pre-sequenced events.
Mm.
So it's really super powerful. Yeah.
Super powerful.
Yeah.
Okay, note to self, try Kundalini yoga.
Oh, I've got lots of videos on YouTube, baby, and I'm doing even more. So yeah, push
Okay.
yourself. It changed my life. That was the thing
Yeah.
that completely, that's the biggest thing that ever changed my life was Kundalini yoga.
Mm. Love it.
Yeah.
I want to hear more about some of the like it. So your trip to Mexico, I don't know how long ago that was, but it sounded like it was full of aha moments and full of learnings and full of growth. And I'm curious. I'm curious. Curious about a lot of it, but I'm curious about more of those aha moments. What led you to Mexico, and what led you from Mexico to where you are now?
Good question. Well, obviously I'm not from the United States. Maybe my accent might give me away. So I
Just
was,
a
at
tad.
the time, I was a corporate securities lawyer
Mhm.
working in top 5 firms in San Francisco, and I was admitted in New York and in London,
Mhm.
and I was about to do the California bar, and I was, so I was successful, 6 figures in 1999, working
Nice.
abroad. Yeah, just flying on business everywhere, and 210 pounds, in hospital all the time. I'll say that again, 210 pounds. I'm 5'4", and
Mm.
I'm like 129 now.
Yeah.
Um, and miserable. It wasn't, it not, but it was how I felt inside. I just wasn't excited about my day. So part of me felt like if I left my New York stodgy firm and went to a West Coast firm,
Mhm.
it might change.
Yeah.
And well, they had blonde furniture and not dark furniture, but it was pretty much the same. But in between the two firms, I got to take a vacation, because when you're a lawyer, quite often that's the only time you get to take a vacation is when you leave before
Yeah.
you join your next firm. You
Yeah.
get a quick week. So I went to Mexico, and I didn't really, I just was going to go and write, and I went to a very small town,
Mhm.
and I met this guy called Goyo, and he was a jungle guide, and we went out into the jungle, and I met this lady, Delphina, and she was older, and she was the happiest person I've ever seen in my life. Like,
Mm.
she just, her eyes and her skin, and she lived in this little hut with nothing,
Mm.
like nothing in there.
Mm.
A tiny TV, and her children, her grandchildren had these little stick toys, and that was it.
Wow.
But her eyes, I mean, she just beamed, and I came back and I wanted that happiness. I wanted to be able to look into my eyes and see that I was happy, because I felt like I looked into my eyes and into other people's. They're cold, they're cut off, they're
Mm-hmm.
disengaged, and they say the eyes, the window to the soul. I wasn't seeing many souls. In fact, I didn't
Mm-hmm.
know I had one. So that's what I came back from Mexico with, starting my new firm. I felt very guilty at starting this new firm. They're very excited about having me, and I knew I didn't want to be a lawyer anymore. I mean,
Yeah.
that came through. I don't want to be a lawyer. There's so much more I want to do. And
Mm-hmm.
this tarot card reader had told me before I came to England, before I came to the United States, about 2 weeks before I was flying out to be a six-figure lawyer, that she didn't see me as a lawyer, and she saw me as a healer, and she saw me speaking all over the world and about different cultures, and it sounded fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't. I was on my way to America to be a lawyer.
Right.
um, and then I go to Mexico, like, I don't know, 2 years later. I haven't thought about this reading. I actually thought she was a crackpot, really. And it was £100 or something at the time. It was a lot of money. A
Mm-hmm.
friend had recommended her. And and then I'm in Mexico, and I come out of a cenote, and I'm talking to Goyo, and he says the words healing center. Well, I'd never heard those words before. And it all just clicked into place. She'd said that I'd meet a mentor, and he'd be dark skinned, and he'd open doors that I didn't know existed, and
Yeah.
I'd go into this healing mode, and here we are.
Yeah.
Mm.
Here we are.
That was Mexico, was the year before the fire. So
Mm.
I think 2000. When was the World Trade Center? 2000. Year 2000, I went to
1,000.
Mexico, and 2001 was the fire,
The
because it was
fire.
2 days before the World Trade Center.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was a big weekend.
Wow.
so yeah. So I came back from Mexico, and it was a 7-year plan to leave law, and then, having had the fire and everything, it worked out to be 14 months. And it's kind of fast forwarded.
Mm. The universe works in very not mysterious ways sometimes.
Once you start declaring it, you know what
Yeah.
it is. Like,
Yeah.
okay. So
It's
yeah,
showing up for me right now.
but
Yeah.
she'll bring you down first, like she'll burn you down in a fire.
Yeah, it's true. It's
Mhm.
true. And going back to your fire story, I've talked with a few different people, and they've had such suffering, such sometimes it's a near death experience, sometimes it's being abused or raped, or um, sometimes it's being so depressed. There's such a point of suffering. And I don't want to, I mean, it seems cliche to say that from, there's no other way but up when you're at that sort of a low point. Um, and maybe it's not about highs and lows. It's a continuum, it's everybody's on this journey. And it just feels like highs and lows when it's happening to you. But part of me finds it not surprising that a lot of women have gone through stories of suffering, have had experiences of great dilemma and pain and hurt, mentally, physically, etc. It doesn't surprise me that they have that experience, and now they have this other experience. They've come to a different place of growth and understanding, of compassion, of empathy. And I almost don't want women to have to go through that experience in order to feel compassion for themselves or for other people.
Mm.
I don't know if there's a question attached to this, but I had to share that because it's such a powerful and impactful experience to go through something painful.
Yeah, but I think, I love what the Dalai Lama says about it's only when we feel the revulsion with samsara do we affect a change.
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, oftentimes when I'm talking to clients, I have it on my board here. It says somewhere, why won't it change? And it says, you're not in enough pain to make the
Mm.
change.
Mm.
So sometimes that pain is actually our invitation. It's actually, so we think of it as bad, but when you come out of it transformed, is that pain bad? I'm sure, I don't know if you're aware of the story of the caterpillar. And
Mm-hmm.
and he's about to emerge, and the guy's watching him on the shelf and the window, and he's like, it looks really painful and it's really slow.
Yeah.
And then, there's just this tiny little bit at the end that needs to be snipped, and the butterfly can emerge. And
Yeah.
he just wants to relieve him of the pain, so he snips it, and the butterfly emerges, and that's it. Pain's over.
Mm-hmm.
Except when the butterfly emerges, his body's big and his wings are small, and he's going to stay like that forever.
Yeah.
It wasn't his time. And so sometimes pain is our time. It's our time showing
Mm.
itself. And my a friend has an analogy of a dog on a front porch. So oftentimes we get caught. You see, this pain can be good because if you're not in enough pain to make the change,
Mm-hmm.
then you are a dog laying on a rusty nail. And it's not enough to make you move, but you whine and whinge about it, right? And all you need to do is get yourself off, lick your damn wounds, and get on with it.
Yeah.
Right? But what you do is it's just not enough, because it's like when I left being a lawyer, I remember walking around the office, and I wasn't going to it. I wasn't going anywhere. I went from six figures to $19,000 the next year. It was very, very different.
Yes.
Didn't have a lot of money saved up, still had law school debt, had
Mm-hmm.
no fucking clue what I was going to do,
Yeah.
except I wanted to be happy, I wanted to make a difference, and I wanted to leave a positive footprint.
Yeah.
Those were the three things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
Um, why was I saying that for? I just
It's okay.
lost
Pain.
myself. But that rust. So if we don't, then with the rusty dog, like if I
Yeah.
didn't feel that much pain, I would still be there. And when I was leaving, that's what people were asking me: how can you do this? But
Mm-hmm.
really, they wanted to know how can they do it, because they
Mm-hmm.
got the house, the mortgage, the kid in the school, the nanny. Once you're all set up like that on the hamster wheel, it's really, really hard to get off.
Yeah.
And that's what I was realizing. I needed to get off before my little hamster wheel started, that now it needed me to run it.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so that pain of, like I said, I was the same person before the fire and after. This exactly the same person with exactly the
Mm-hmm.
same question. How can I do what I love to do?
Yeah.
And yet, the other one is the phoenix. We come up out the fire and we rise, and we have a whole new life.
Yeah.
We've got to burn completely in order to do that. Otherwise, again, we've got a
Mm.
broken wing. So,
Mm.
and I think there's two sides to pain. Like, I think the pain of letting women know that they're not alone. There's that pain of thinking you're the only one and you're
Yeah.
the broken one. That pain, I think, is the one that we can really help dissipate,
Yeah.
by these messages, and by all of us saying, I feel fucked up and broken inside. There
Yeah.
are times when I feel fucked up and broken inside,
Yeah.
you know, but I know that I'm not. And but still, there's times I think I am. And I'm not the only one. I speak to
Mm.
lots of people who say the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so at some point, we all feel that. And you can just go, oh, I'm not the only one, and that takes a lot of the pressure off. And
Yeah.
then some of the other pain can be seen as an invitation to make the
Mm.
changes that we really want to make, but don't know how.
Mm. Yeah. I like that. And I love the word that was coming to me was community. That
Mm.
there's real strength in community.
Yeah.
Not that yes, we can do it together like you started with. We
Mm-hmm.
can do so much more together, but
Right.
really it's about recognizing yourself in the other person
Mm-hmm.
and them recognizing themselves. Yeah.
I'm like, keep looking up at my board. That's on my board too. The
No
human,
way.
the human mess in me recognizes the
The
human mess in
humanness
you.
in you. Oh,
You know.
totally.
So
Totally.
that
And
that
I
mess is what,
Mhm.
because and again, that's our judgment, right? Is
Right.
whatever's inside of ourselves is what we're going to be judging in others.
Mhm.
And so that mess. And so when we can start making peace, we want to make peace in the world and make peace with ourselves. We want to make peace with ourselves and make peace with the world.
Yeah.
Oh, I've not said it like that before. I quite like that one too. So, but that's what I've been thinking about recently
Mhm.
is, some of the things that I'm not liking in some people. I'm like, that's in me, and I don't want to look at that. But that's my invitation, you know.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and
That's
so,
your
or I
truth.
could just beat myself up for being a bitch about someone else and distract
Totally.
myself.
Totally.
Or I could look for the lesson in it and go, okay, what is it? I've been Californified. That's what I say. The English words have been Californified. There's
Yeah.
meaning and all these things.
There's always a lesson. I'm always
There's a
being taught
lesson.
something.
Universe means it. Divine order.
Oh, I'm a California native.
Oh,
I have to just
comes
say
easy to you then. It's
no,
just
no. I was gonna say, even as a California native, nobody gave us a manual, right? Nobody gave us a workbook to work with when we were young. And yet this is
You didn't have worksheets. You didn't have like little
no, unfortunately not.
green
No.
juice. I mean, seriously, my old like I did not eat anything green. I didn't even drink water for goodness sake till I was 34. So
Oh.
whole this is just so different. It's amazing. You know, California's given me a whole different life. But there are even times when even I go, oh, so.
It's true. It's true. Well, and since you're mentioning green juice, I would love to segue a little bit more into how you talk with your body and how you connect with your body. And green juice is obviously, I'm making dots for you, but tell me if I'm wrong. That
Hmm.
that's one way that your body says, "Oh, I'd like that, please," and it sustains you and it fulfills you. And so I'm curious. I'm curious. What are some other things that you do in order to talk with your body and connect with that wise place that you have in you?
Yoga, my
Mm,
my Kundalini.
Kundalini.
And the green juice, let me just say, it's taken me 13 years to sit here just sipping on this, smiling away, going, I like my green juice. I'm serious. Only in June of this year did it kind of click into place that I liked my juice. And so it's been a whole new, I've struggled for 13 years
Yeah.
on this. So for people out there, if you don't like green juice and you're not being able to drink it, that's okay. No worries. Like
Yeah.
don't feel bad. So it's things that I like to do. You know, I like to take time. That's my biggest thing. When I had the fire, what I realized afterwards, my biggest aha, other than
Hmm.
you know, nothing's permanent. That was the big one, but you know, that's pretty. Is that I can aspire to save money, but I can't aspire to save time.
Mm.
So, you know, had lots of money back then, but I had no time to myself.
Yeah.
I crying at my desk. I was in the office, you know, 60 to 100 hours a week in, week out, you
Mm.
know, and wanting to live a life as well, and just exhausted and doing a lot of recreational drugs and a lot of pharmaceutical drugs and a lot of alcohol and all together, a
Mhm.
nice messy mess. And it's a great life. And so here I was building this, you know, dream life and then breaking it down. So time was for me. So to even today, like you know, I basically say you can mess with anything, but don't fuck with my time. Like I really don't
Mm.
like you fucking with my time. That's
Mm.
mine. That you know, ultimately we think everything's about money. We like a value system about money. Our time is the most precious thing because when time is called,
Yeah.
that's it. It's
Yeah.
lights out. That's it. You know, no more. It doesn't matter how much money you've got.
Yeah.
Um, and you know, if you're in on life support and you've got $1 million in the bank, well, that's great. It's going to pay for your medical bills. But if you're, you know, able-bodied and you have no money, you can make some money.
Yeah.
So our time and our breath, because that's the next thing, is you know
Mm.
those two things are very connected. When the breath is gone, I tell students follow your breath
Yeah.
because when it's gone, we're not here anymore. So it's a really good
Mm.
thing to follow. That's why I love Kundalini because it actually really does use a lot of breath work with the movement, and it literally changed my life.
Mm.
So, and I've been having a coming home to it in the last like, 12 months. Um, and so it just really reminding me and seeing, I've been teaching a lot of new people and just seeing their faces, like on the first time, the very first time they do it, like you feel inside of yourself, there is a difference. You feel different.
Mm.
And it's on a physiological level as well as a physical and mental level.
Mm.
So it's just you know it's the yoga. It's called the yoga of awareness, and it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So yes, that's one of the things I do. Take time and do my yoga. I like to be in nature, so you know I've now manifested. I've got all three walls around me, windows around me are all looking out to green. I'm sitting on 10 acres.
Mm.
You know, we've got owls and hawks and deer, and these are all things I've seen this morning. And
Wow.
a huge spider in the pool, like
Ooh.
huge. I
Ooh.
know, like he was like this big.
Ooh.
Yeah, the pool cover is broken, so I think he fell in because he's not. But
Oh.
I'm a little surprised that there's even spiders that big here. And then actually, just outside my window here is hummingbird feeders. I got 3 hummingbird feeders. That's something else that I do. Strange. I heal with hummingbirds. If
Mm.
you've got anywhere that you can have hummingbirds and you can have a feeder, put it up. It's the most joyful thing in the world. Um, and there's a whole thing about hummingbirds and they're spirit birds, and they go back to the underworld every night to the spirit world and bring us messages back. So
Mm.
lots of stuff that I could talk for hours on hummingbirds alone. But having those at my window and just having that time is really the big thing because it's where we start everything. So that's really, there's all the things like looking after ourselves. We can say, go take a bath and get a manicure
Yeah.
and pedicure, and that, a lot of times those things, not the bath, but like the manicure and pedicure. When I was a lawyer and I had my acrylics because I wanted to have the perfect nails, thank you. I was Miss Gucci and Miss, like everything. Seriously, was so different. Like you would not, very, very precious as well. It was terribly precious. You should interview my friends, and they would kindly and lovingly tell you how bad I used to be. I'm very material, but I had my acrylics, and they were a treat, right? They were to make me feel better. But I couldn't frigging find 2 hours every other week to
Yeah.
go and get them done. And so it became a bane. It became something that I had to do because the damn things would chip or something and there's nothing you can do with them. You
Mm-hmm.
can't like fix them. And so you've got to make the time. And so then it became something that was actually a chore that I was actually thinking was something. So sometimes we have to be very careful with some of these things when we're looking after ourselves, that they don't become just another thing, another distraction.
Mm.
Get barefoot and get in some grass or in some sand and feel the sun on your face or the wind whipping around you. Then we really know. And like go and take your little tiny self who's feeling like your whole world's going to fall on you and be somewhere where you feel so small but you're such a small part of a greater whole. And that's that to me, that's taking care of myself. And the more I can do that, the better I am. And the better I am, the better the world is. Because
Mm.
that's the other thing I've realized. I used to try and think that, I had to look after the world first, but I don't know. The world is a better place when I feel better. So
Mm.
I started like doing those feel better
Mm.
things. I'll take my time. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one woman revolution, that makes sense now. I mean, if I'm feeling, well, if I'm in a place where I'm bogged down or I'm stuck or my body feels stuck or, oh, I have these acrylics and I have to go do like the sort of obligatory womanhood,
Mm-hmm.
whatever that is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this relates back to Women Enough because people, I mean, it could be acrylics, it could be putting on
Mm-hmm.
makeup, it could be doing my hair
Right.
for 5 hours, it could be I must have this diet, it could be I
Mm-hmm.
must exercise for an hour a day. I
Yeah.
must, I must, I must, I have to.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a have to,
Mm-mm.
and
No.
if I'm in that place, am I actually able to revolve? Am I actually able to have a revolution,
Mm-hmm.
a 365, 360, sorry, 365 days a year, but 360 degrees. I always get those two mixed up.
Hey.
Love it. Um, but revolution is about movement.
Mm-hmm.
That the word is revolve. It's coming back to. It's I'm going to come back to this. I'm going to return. I'm
Mm-hmm.
revolving. Volver in Spanish means to return, to come back home.
Right.
And so I love that if I'm in that place of obligatory womanhood, I can't revolve.
Right.
I'm not able to move. I'm stuck.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a freeing that can happen, and then you can be your one woman revolution.
Yeah. I
Mm.
love that. That rocks.
Did I
It's
just do marketing for you?
Yeah, that's exactly it. And and that's because like that coming back around, right?
Yeah.
Is wherever we go, there we are. Wherever
Mhm.
we go, there we are. And
Yeah.
so and then it becomes, well, who am I?
Mhm.
And who am I coming back to? And I think that's like after, our time and our breath, and that's the next question for us because we're so stuck in who we are for everybody else
Yeah.
and who the world decided we were going to be.
Mhm.
And we got into, a lot of people I work with are in the same position that I was, and I was 34 when the fire happened, and I was basically yearning for bigger meaning. Like
Mhm.
I had been successful on the outside, and I'd been told if I worked hard, I could do whatever I wanted.
Right.
Well, I found out if I worked hard, someone else owned my time.
Yeah.
So that didn't quite work for me because, now I see how precious I am about my time. That
Mm.
obviously back then it was hurting my soul that I didn't know I had for all my time to be stolen like that, which is effectively what it was, even though it was paid for
Mhm.
effectively, So,
Mm.
so yeah. So what was that third thing I just said?
I can't remember.
I can't either. So it was the time and the breath, and then who are we? You
Yeah.
know, who are we before the world tells us who we're supposed to be?
Yes.
And so getting to that stage in our life where we've achieved what we're supposed to. We went to school, that got us into another school, which got us into a job, which got us
Mm.
into a career, which got us into wherever. And then we got our partner, maybe a few more people not having their partners these days. So that's being left out. And then we got a house and our kids. And then we sit there and go, oh, is that it?
Yeah.
Is there more? Until I'm, and I was thinking, I'm 34. What if I live till I'm 80? That's like 46 years more of this. I didn't want 46 years more of this. I didn't want one more year of this.
Mm.
And so it's about finding out what's important to us and like what's our value system. What do we hold near and dear that we're trading maybe for something else that will make our soul happy on a different level that then doesn't bring out our, like my bitch and my like having to prove myself in other ways, my labels and my everything else, and trying to live up to what I think I'm supposed to be. And I can actually just relax and be like, oh, I mean, I can't remember the last time I went somewhere and asked what someone was wearing. Seriously, like I used to be the first question I would ask you, like if you're going to go somewhere, what are you wearing?
Oh,
Because I've
wow.
got to make sure that am I dressed appropriately?
Yeah.
I don't care now. I mean, I care. Don't get me wrong that I don't care, but I don't care. I mean, I care more about being me.
Yeah.
And it's not always easy because, I'm a little different and a little funky, but then I'm also very straight. It's very juxtapositions, and that's who we all are. We're all multifaceted
Mm.
people, and we try to be very linear, and we try to be very, one-sided. This is who I am. Maybe this is who I'm at work, and this is who I am in my personal life. And these are my two sides. We have two sides. No,
Mm.
we may have like several. And
10,
so I think we
20.
have, fragmented personality disorder quite often. There's parts of ourselves that are not given airspace.
Mm.
Like in like doing the bear interview. That's not something that I'm not running around getting naked in front of cameras for people, as a general rule,
Right.
But that was something is different,
Yeah.
Um, and so doing that.
Yeah. What was and just to speak to that specific experience, what was different about it? What was highlighted for you?
Well, I think like that was that whole thing. It's like I dare myself all the time. That's how I do things. Like
Mm.
I generally I'll sign up for it. So the AIDS ride that I did, like losing weight with the marathon, I signed up for a marathon.
Wow.
And I was 185 pounds at the time, or whatever. And I just decided that I couldn't do anything for myself, so I needed to do something bigger than myself. And so I
Mm.
signed up for this thing to help other people. And in helping other people, I ended up helping myself.
Yeah.
So when I saw the bear thing, I actually was late for the deadline, but I'd met Michelle at an event the weekend before, and I thought
Mm-hmm.
she was just this like love bunny.
Yeah.
And so I'd sent her a message going, I really want to do this thing, because I've had this been trapped in my body and blah blah blah. And it was a dare for me, and then it's like a permission for other people, because that's what I realized. The more that we can stand up and say what's wrong with us,
Mm-hmm.
people don't need to know what we do freaking well. Like they can see that. Like people are standing up going, I do this brilliantly and I'm brilliant at this and I'm brilliant at that. Well, while we're all saying we're brilliant at whatever, we're not even looking at what we're not so brilliant at. So I spend a lot of my life looking at what I'm not so brilliant at. It kind of makes me a bit depressed sometimes. That's part of my gift,
Mm.
it's my invitation. So yeah,
Nice.
kind of
You dared yourself.
dared myself, and then
Yeah.
give other women permission by doing it, by being vulnerable, and so that they can go and do it, and just
Mm.
so that they can see that it's not just certain women of a certain size. I mean, in
Yes.
that photo shoot that we had, I remember the youngest person was about 18 or 19, I think,
Mm-hmm.
pretty young, and I think she was with her mom even,
Mm.
if I remember correctly. And then the eldest was, I'm not sure how old she is, in her 70s, and she's amazing and one of my gorgeous friends now. And there's so much wisdom in all of these, in all of us, as we're, especially as we're, I'm in those like getting to the 50s, and Lakshmi's in her 70s, and
Yeah.
just but she's still a young woman inside, and that realization of this age that we all are like going, oh my god, I don't want to get old, I don't want to get wrinkled, I don't want to get but we are,
Yeah.
God willing, inshallah, like that we do last that long, we will get old. And so we got to start making friends with it,
Yeah.
making friends with age
Mm.
and going back to that crone and so getting back to what you were saying about having to be a woman or what that means of
Mm.
bringing back that the Lakshmis of the world of not having them stuck in a frigging cupboard or in a home or just oh yeah, that old lady over there, she's freaking wisdom. That woman has got, like, she was in San Francisco, think about it. She's got so much to bring to us about where women were and where and
Mm.
how that she's gone through this journey. And she stood up and shared, and she'd never got naked for the camera before either. And so it's this thing that you do because you think it's something, maybe for I maybe think it's a dare for me, and maybe I even think that it's permission for other women. And then when you do it, it's just so much more.
Yeah.
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 Tagline, we are so much more.
We are so much more. We really are. We
Yeah.
can't even there's a quote, even you do not know how high you can fly until you spread your wings.
Mm.
That we have no idea of
No.
our potential, and so often it takes us being, underground, really hitting the ground,
Yeah.
to find it. But it's right there in every single one of us. I mean, nobody comes without it. That's when I
It's true.
found Buddhism, and I was training to be a Buddhist nun before Mexico. It was whatever. So, but that was one of the big things about it was, I read that we all have a Buddha, they called it a diamond in the book that I was reading. We all have a diamond inside of us, and even some of us, it's really dirty and you can't see it.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you can't see it and just because it's got shit all over it doesn't mean it ain't there.
It's true.
So it's in all of us. That's where that
Mm.
whole thing was from. Is it just is? It's in all of us.
Mm.
It's just for us to find it. And sometimes you just need a torch and some scrubbing brushes and
Yeah.
but it's not outside of us, for sure. There's nothing outside of us. Our greatest teacher, the other thing I love about Kundalini, our greatest teacher is the one within.
Yeah.
Always look, we tune in to the teacher within. So often we're looking outside of ourselves when the answer is inside.
Yeah.
So
It's true. Thank you.
thank you. I hope it's making
Uh,
sense.
yeah. I love that we've been talking. Uh, I love that we've been talking and not.
Right. I love that too. I was thinking that too. I'm like, I like this. This is like really chatting. Just.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Women Enough is an organization that's about this. It's about being real. It's about sharing. It's about going within and then expressing that
Mm-hmm.
to the world, and doing it in a community where you know that you matter. And even if you have a day where you think, nope, so don't matter today, or nope, can't see the diamond, or whatever, whatever phrase comes to mind, there are other people that go, I've been there. I know that. Uh-oh, what's this? Oh, I can't
Can
see
you
it.
read that?
Love more, stress less. Stress less, you matter. It's true. Love more,
That's
stress
my
less.
new for my website, actually. That's our
I love it.
slogan. So yes, you matter. It's like the thing we
Mhm.
have to remember, because that's what spins us out. When we forget that we matter, and we just go, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And the answer is, where can I love more? Where can I stress less and know that I matter?
Yeah.
And that just kind of can pull you back in.
Yeah.
So you just speak my language, lady.
Well, after I hit the stop record button, sorry everybody out there watching the recording, Shiv and I might have to get together and do some Kundalini yoga.
Yeah. I've got some great pranayama that I'm going to make a video as well this afternoon after Michelle. I've got interviewing Michelle. I'm interviewing her. And I know that when Samaj gets home, I'll be kind of like, I get up at 4:30. So
Wow.
by the time he gets home at 4, I might be like a little, I need a pick me up. And so this is actually pranayama, breath work that you can do at your desk that gives you a complete change of consciousness and change of state. So easy to do. I'm actually not going to change. I'm just going to sit here and do it. So I'll do some of that with you afterwards for sure.
Awesome. That sounds brilliant.
Yeah.
Thank you for talking with us. Thank you for
Thank
bearing
you.
part of yourself.
Thank you. I hope
all
you
of this.
got everything that you needed.
Oh, and more.
Awesome.
And more. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. It was so much fun. And yeah, if anyone gets the opportunity to go bare, I say just do it, because you don't know what it is until you go without it. And really, when you know who you are without your clothes on, it's a great equalizer too.
Yeah.
That's the thing. When I first got bare at Harbin Hot Springs, I realized, the body, the bare body, great equalizer.
Yeah.
You know, with a few tattoos maybe, but other than that, you don't know car the person drives. You don't know anything about them, and you realize, I realized that the body is like a vase, and so there's all these different shaped vases, and they come in all different shapes and sizes. But the spirits, the flowers that are in, they're all the same. They're beautiful, essential, gorgeous flowers. And
Mm,
it's about
mm.
seeing our flowers and stop looking at our vases so much.
I
So
love it.
there. Sorry, that was post interview, but
No, I love
I've
it.
always got something to say.
Thank you.
Thank you.